I always told them, you got to have a positive mindset. You got to focus on the things that you can control and not tell yourself any of the negative crap. Like, keep the negative crap out.
What's up, everybody? My name's Mike Sjogren, here with my co-host,
Emmanuel Pani.
We're part of a group of specialized real estate investors you've probably never heard of.
We didn't start with deep pockets or wealthy families, and we don't rely on 401ks, mutual funds, or traditional real estate investing.
In fact, many of us don't even own the properties that fund our freedom. If you ask the money experts out there, they'd say what we do is impossible, yet it's happening every single day.
It's happening through a new niche called short-term rentals.
We are Short-Term Rental Nation, and these are our secrets. What's going on, STR Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Short-Term Rental Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Mike Sjogren, here with my main man and brother from another mother, Mr. Emmanuel Pani. What's up, E?
Mr. Sjogren, so good to see you, man. What's you doing well? How you feeling, bro? Tell us.
So I was actually checking out a property this morning up the street, and I woke up and like my back was super sore and like I had a headache and I was just a little stuffy and I didn't think anything of it. And then Sam and Matt, who were down here with us, they flew back Tuesday. They sent me a text. Hey, we tested positive for COVID. So I just took a test and yeah. So
Okay, well,
we'll see how that goes. I don't know.
at least you're in Florida, you know?
I mean, it's not a bad spot to quarantine.
Right? It's pretty
I feel
good
fine. I mean, I've got a headache and I feel like I have a cold and I'm just achy, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
It's good, man. The thing is not going away, but
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like the friggin' flu now. It's just
It's just part of life. But yeah, man, life has been good. I as you guys know from last time we spoke, I am hosting an exchange student, which is technically my cousin, but she's an exchange student nonetheless. It's been 3 weeks now. And I want to like hats off to all the parents that listen to the show, because I don't know how you guys have time to do anything else, because I mean, she's 16, so she's supposed to be pretty independent. I don't think I've ever waited so much as I have in the past 3 weeks. Waiting pickup line, waiting drop off line, waiting practice, waiting tryouts. I'm like, I'm just gonna get you an Uber account and put it on your phone and just like, you know, or your parents can get you. I don't know, bro, but like, I don't know how you guys do it. And like, again, she's 16, so she can do a lot of things by herself. But it's just like,
Yeah.
wow, bro, you know. But again, I'm super grateful that we have the ability to do it. Both me and Tasha were exchange students. We didn't have such a great time with our first couple host families. So to kind of like take that away from the experience and help her have at least a slightly better experience. And it's funny, right, to watch how quickly your brain can adjust, right? Like, she came off the plane 3 weeks ago. She could not really speak any English. And now you can see her, right? And you can see like the things she says, the words she says, is how quickly your brain kind of picks up. So it's super fascinating, right? And I remember when I came as an exchange student, I remember like there was a kind of like a turning moment is when I started dreaming in English. And I was just like, woke up one day, I was just like, what was that? And then it's never gone away, you know? But yeah,
Love
so
it.
life is good, man. Very, very, very grateful. Going to look at a little 12-unit hotel, which is actually an apartment complex, which is actually rented as a halfway house, like a sober house right now.
Mhm.
So they have a triple net lease on it, but it's a pretty sweet little spot. So I will keep you guys posted on that, and we'll see how that goes.
Keep me posted on that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like
So, but I'm super excited for the show today, because I'm ready to take some notes, because this man has been doing some things that we should all learn from.
Yeah, man. 100%. 100%. And just real quick, for those of you guys that listened to the episode last week, Ian and I actually recorded it. And then our production team sent me a text like over that weekend last week, and they're like, hey, the audio was super choppy. So like I ripped that other one in the parking lot before I walked into Universal Studios on Monday. But in that episode, I talk a lot about mindset, and we'll talk about that today. and Tristan was one of the members of that program. He's still a member of that program. And actually pushed it back a week. So it's kicking off next week. We've got a couple slots left. If you guys want to check that out, go to strsecrets.com/limitless. There's a video in there and all sorts of good stuff. So without further ado, I want to bring Tristan Petricca up. So Tristan and I go way back. We went to college together. Real good dude, played lacrosse, and reconnected, I don't know, maybe like 2.5 years ago. And yeah, I don't want to steal your thunder, man. Why don't you give the listeners kind of your rundown?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate both of you having me on the show. This is, from the time I started, that this was definitely one of my goals, be on the podcast. So it's been great to get that invite. But yeah, so yep, Mike and I went to college together, and basically in 2000, it was December of 2020, actually. I was poking through Facebook and saw your free webinar, and that's kind of when I was like, well, let's hop in and see what this is all about. And you know, I basically just wanted to log in and just say hi, and you know, see how things were going. And that pretty much changed the trajectory of my life. So little background: after college, I was just kind of bartending. I'd always been in the hospitality industry, in doing different things, serving, bartending, that sort of thing. And was kind of getting sick of it. And so in 2012, a friend of mine said, hey, there's a digital marketing agency that's hiring, and we're doing, you know, they're hiring entry level. So basically answering emails, answering the phones, getting yelled at most of the day by angry clients. And so I quickly kind of grew up through that company. I just fell in love with digital marketing. Really, it was amazing to me that Google was always changing. So you could really be an expert in the field without the quote unquote like Ivy League education. So if you stayed up on what Google was doing, you could be the best in the world at it without having, you know, gone to an elite school for it. And that to me was incredible. Like you could just, the sky's the limit. So I fell in love with SEO, search engine optimization, and was, you know, at that company for a few years, and then moved to a different company based out of Philly, and learned a lot. The CEO there was an awesome guy, and he taught me so much about like how to really dive into SEO and so many different metrics that are kind of hidden, but that can give you answers to your users, and how to provide better content to people. And so I was there for another year. And then I decided to kind of go off on my own with a friend of mine. We were doing the digital marketing. He did the Google ads, and I did the SEO for a national pool building company. And we, you know, I ran basically the SEO for 70 something locations in the US and another handful of locations in the UAE. Sorry. And yeah, so it was kind of a big step there to do the SEO, you know, worldwide. And that's when him and I kind of decided to do our own thing. So started helping out veteran owned businesses and small businesses in San Diego. I worked with a handful of guys who were, you know, military, some Navy SEALs, Seabees, a bunch of Marines, and all of them were done with their service and were growing businesses. And that was always something I wanted to do, is to give back to those who served our country. And so that was my biggest thing, was helping them to grow their business through Google. So that kind of got the wheels turning. And then fast forward to December, after I saw the webinar, I knew I wanted to get going. My wife and I had just had our first child in early December. So I knew I got to come up with something else here. So that's when it clicked. Hey, I've done hospitality. Hey, I know the tech industry. STRs are pretty much, you know, the child of both of those. So I don't think a better opportunity could have fallen in my lap. So that's basically how everything got started. And it's been a complete whirlwind the last 18 months.
I love it, man. So why don't we just give the overview of kind of how did it go that first year? And then now that you're in your kind of full second year, where are you at? What markets are you based in? What's your unit count looking like?
Yeah. So I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. I live in Cave Creek. So that's basically the market I got started in. And short-term rentals are pretty big here as well. So it was really ideal to get started here. My first year was definitely a little slower. So January, I was diving headfirst into the course content, learning how to build the business, learning how to find properties. So I was on hot pads, I was on Craigslist, and I was diving through all these for rent by owner properties and trying to, I created a handful of scripts for cold calling, and try to critique those and try to channel my inner sales guy, which I've never been a sales guy. So it was a little outside of my comfort zone. So I would basically call 15, 20 people a day and try to convince them that short-term rentals were going to be more profitable than long-term rentals. You should hire my company to operate them for you. That did not work well. So I went back to the drawing board and knew, okay, I got to do something else. How am I going to bring in these leads? So I thought, well, instead of doing outbound marketing, I should really be doing more inbound marketing. So created the website, just doubled in on like, okay, how am I going to get people to come to me? So what questions do I need to answer for people out there looking for a property management company? And then I need to put that out on the website. So I'm answering all their questions. They can just simply fill out a form and we can go from there. So that's what I did. So, dove into building a website, spent 2 to 3 weeks just banging out content on it, making sure everything was perfect. And then let's see, it was February 4th of 2021, I signed my first co-host deal. So a little over a month in, and it did come from my website. It was a form fill. She found me on Google. So that started everything. And then throughout 2021, I got another 2 deals throughout the year, another one in the summer. And then we actually had a guest stay with us at that very first property. And they had such a great stay that he immediately reached out and said, I want to do this. I want to buy a house and have you run it. So we did that. So in the fall, he purchased and we had to do some serious renovations. And then we launched, I think, in January or February of 2022. So the first year, 3 deals signed, 1 deal live. I think right at the end of December, we got the second property live, but the owners were using it for Christmas and New Year's. So it didn't really count, I guess. It's more 2022. So, 3 properties first year. And let's see. And then it really, the floodgates kind of opened up in 2022. We quickly started signing up more deals. Just looking through. Yeah, I picked up a house in Avondale that was a former, another property manager was basically quitting the industry, and she found me again on Google. And that's really when things started to pick up. I was making more effort on Google to get to number 1 in basically the Valley for short-term rental property management. And once I did, I think I was number 1 throughout the whole Valley in March of 2022. And I was getting probably anywhere from 5 to 12, 15 leads per week that I could basically just go through and see which properties were worth it. Some were condos, some were single family homes. And so that was made things a lot easier.
Mm.
And
Wait, let's unpack some of this for 1 second, right? Because
Sure.
you've gone through a lot of stuff already.
Sure.
One of the things that I want to touch on, where do I want to go first? Because I had so many questions, and then as you kept talking, I have more questions. So one of my first questions is, So you have, at the time, by March 2022, you technically had 2 units that were live plus one more that was kind of like in the works.
Yeah.
So how does somebody that has such a young listing and such a young, kind of like you've been so shortly in the industry, how do you go to be number one on Google? Right? Because I think that's something that like a lot of people are like, yes, I'm going to make my Google listing page. And then how do I get to number one? Right? So what are some of those things that you did? Obviously you have a lot of background with Google, so that probably helped, but what are some of those things that you did that helped you get to number one, considering that you didn't have a lot of units, right?
Yep. Great question. Yeah. So the biggest thing for me was understanding the competition. Okay. That's the main thing in any market. So what kind of gap is there in your market for someone to come in and take over, for you to come in and take over? And what I found is when I looked on Google, and specifically Google Maps or Google Local, which is, the map pack, and they feed you the first 3, which are known as the snack pack. And the rest of the people, like how many reviews do those top 3 have? And of those reviews, how many, or what's their overall rating? Right. And I was shocked. In Scottsdale, it was like the competition had 30, 40 maybe reviews, less than 5 stars. So most of them were like 3.9, 4.3. So right there, I was like, bam, that's my mark right there. If I can build reviews quicker than anyone else, and I can get above that 30, 35, 40 mark, and with perfect 5 stars, I will be number one. So that was.
Are you on one particular category? Because I know, for example, when you try to go through your Google listing and register it, there is not specifically vacation rental management company. So are you ranking under vacation rental? Are you ranking under like hospitality and like hotels? What are you ranking under?
So I rank number one for, let me see here. I had it as a property management company. That's my primary. Vacation home rental agency is my second. They're the subcategory. And then short-term apartment rental agency was the third category. Those were the closest I could find to that. And then I use a different software called Bright Local. It's basically a main hub of all your digital marketing statistics and everything. And they have a local search grid, so you can put in whatever keywords you want, the distance, and then how many pings you want. So it basically looks like a map. It's a map with a bunch of dots in a grid, and it does a search from each bubble on that grid. So I did Airbnb property management. It pains me to have to do that because we all know, it is short-term rentals, but the search volume is what I needed to target. And the highest search volume is Airbnb property management, at least here in Scottsdale.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So that's the main keyword I targeted.
Awesome. And then my next question was, a year in, 1 or 2 properties, right? What is that conversation like with yourself? Because I think that is the problem. And again, like I think I quoted this last week, but since that last week episode didn't post, I can reuse this quote from ET that is like, you gotta be this new you long enough to survive and to like kind of like bloom into this new you and let go of the old you, right? So what was the conversation like of like, okay, I want to do this. You deep dive into the course. You try to do what you thought you were supposed to do, right? Because I think that's one of the things that often happens is people are like, well, how do people normally do this? I'm going to start calling people. But if that is not your area of expertise or power, there is no point. So you quickly shifted out of that, but then it still took you quite a while, right? So how did you keep yourself motivated? What was the conversation with yourself like? What was the conversation with your friends and your family, right? Because I'm sure like, I'm going to do this. And then 6 months pass and you have 1 unit or no unit. So what does that kind of inner conversation look like for the entire first year?
Yeah. That's another great question. So I think that the thing that was helpful to me is that I've done it before, not the short-term rental business, but I've done the marketing before. I've taken multiple websites, multiple businesses from nothing to making a lot of money, and some for myself and some for others, and some that don't make money, but are, as an example, there was a club lacrosse team in San Diego that I was a member of for years. And then I kind of took a step back and just ran the website. But I took that from no leads to, dozens and dozens of leads over time. And so I knew I had the roadmap, and I knew that if I just kept doing what I'm doing and kept providing value to people, and getting good Google reviews, that it would work for me. I'm a data nerd, so I would always be deep diving into my Google Analytics, the insights that I would get from Google My Business. And every time I added a 5-star review, my phone would ring 5 or 10 times more that week. So it was very quickly being reinforced, like Pavlov's dogs, right? So it was every time I would add a review, I would get a reward. And so that to me was like, all right, we know what we're doing here. We got to keep pushing. And, I knew that it would turn around as long as I continued to push and continued to do the right things and provide value, that my business would take off. And my end goal is really to be the best short-term rental operator in Arizona. And, so obviously with 3 properties, it was a little slow, but a wise man told me to write my goals down and to focus on them and to read them every day. So I still have my original goal card. It's still sitting right here next to me. I will never get rid of this. I'm actually going to frame this and put it up in my own little museum someday. But my first goal was 5 properties and $3,000 a month by 2021.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I had another date on there, but yeah, so it was a small goal, and I focused on it every single day. I focused on it. I just want $3,000 a month, 5 properties. Little did I know that it's probably flipped 3 properties, $5,000 a month based on the status of the properties out here in Arizona.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I just doubled down on my focus as a coach as well. I coach high school kids. Mindset. I always told them, you got to have a positive mindset. You got to focus on the things that you can control and not tell yourself any of the negative crap. Like, keep the negative crap out. I never said, don't drop the ball. Don't make a bad pass. It's always like, hey, make sure you're doing this to make a better pass. Make sure you're keeping your head up. Make sure you're, just reinforcing the positive. So I never beat myself up. I always just kept telling myself, like, you're going to do it. It's what you're doing is working. You just have to continue to push forward. So
I honestly could have not hoped that you answered that question any better than you did. And there's this book that $100 Million Offers with Alex Hormozi. I hope I'm saying his last name right, but I really like him. Him and his wife are awesome, and they have this company now called acquisition.com. But he talked about that. I saw a piece of content he did that a day, and it's like, the main difference that people don't understand is the people that make it continue to do over time what they know is right when no result is coming, right? And I think that is honestly the one piece of advice that is life-changing in any area that you're supposed to, or that you want to make a change in your life, right? It's the same thing with the gym. It's the same thing with the golf swing. It's the same thing with like anything, right? And it's also that passion of like, okay, like improvement, focus, feedback, adjust, keep going, right? So we touched on that. We touched on about, now we're in 2022. It's March. You're number 1. What happens next?
yeah, so at this point, now I'm talking to a lot of owners. I mean, I'm talking to, man, I'm probably at 50 or 60 leads coming in a month. So, I mean, do the math, and it wasn't every day. So some days I'm talking to 6 or 7 people. And I'm not closing them all, obviously. Otherwise I'd be at 200 properties. So, that was another kind of hurdle, or gauntlet, really. People just beating me down as I'm running through. That was another time where I had to, hyper focus. And luckily, based on the timing, is when Mike's course Limitless came around. And if it wasn't for that timing, I don't know. Well, I know where I'd be at. I'd probably be at a fraction of the amount of properties that I had, because I was hearing a lot of no's, or actually, I wasn't even getting a no. A no would have been great. I was getting ghosted. I was getting ghosted. So, that was
the worst. I
yeah,
agree. Yeah, to know. Yeah, I can make peace with, the being ghosted. I'm like, what? Am I not good enough? Like, am I not even good enough for you to tell me to like just never call again? Like, it's
yeah.
painful. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was exactly the thing, was like I still had to pitch. Like, I still had to pitch them, and I started to realize, like, it was more now about again, providing value and showing the owners, like walking them through the business. And now that I had some properties, I'd been through, some issues with the properties, and I knew how to handle problems. I was able to better articulate the business and better describe basically what we do that's going to make their life easier, that's going to protect their property and keep their precious home in great shape, and all the things they wanted to hear. So I got much better at that stuff because I had a little more experience. But through the mindset shift, it was mostly like, I deserve this. Like, this is what I've been pushing for. There's no reason that I am not the best in Arizona. And there's no reason that these people would want to sign up with anybody else. They want to sign up with me. I just have to explain things a little better. So that was more the shift that I had through the first go round of Limitless. It was really the building the self-image. Who is the Tristan Petricca that I want to be in the future or now? And that, doubling down on that and really deep diving on that. And the other part of it is the why. Why. I went 7 layers deep on why, and like a child asking myself why. Well, because I want to be able to go play golf whenever the hell I want. Yeah, but why? Well, because I was never able to do that. Well, why? And I just kept going down the list of like, and it eventually got down to, I want to provide the life for my family where we can do the things we want, when we want, however we want, and I don't have to worry about anything. And that is really my end goal. And so the self-image that I had to, come to terms with for that type of person was someone who's closing deals all the time, who has an effortless time closing deals, who makes meaningful relationships with owners and guests, and treats everyone with extreme respect and treats every property like it's my own. And through that shift, that's when things started to really blow up, and I was just closing deals left and right.
What's amazing? Oh, sorry, Mike. Go.
I just want to touch on that real quick, because the biggest thing, and this isn't even about like plugging Limitless or whatever, but the biggest thing I always ask people when they go to join our regular mastermind, STR Secrets Mastermind, I'm like, what is your goal? And what I find is most people, they have a very vague goal, or if they have a number, right? It's like, I want to make 50,000 a month, right? But deep down, they don't believe that they can have it. They're just like throwing a dart, and it's like, oh, that'd be cool to make 50. But the problem is their self-image isn't in alignment with that. So no matter how hard they try, they're going to like subconsciously keep self-sabotaging, and they're not going to know why. And they're never going to get to the level that they want until you start to reprogram that subconscious, is what we talked about last week. Because once you start doing that, you notice some of the language that Tristan used. He starts to close deals every day, effortlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not very hard for E or myself or Tristan to close deals anymore. It's just not, because we just accept the idea that it's easy to close deals.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and the confidence that he has, right? And even like when he was going through those sentences, you could tell that there was no doubt in those sentences, right? You can tell that he has gone through those sentences so many times that there is no, this is what I do, kind of do this as well, right? It's like, I close deal effortless and I make I make connections, and I treat properties like they're my own. And that is alignment, right? And that is the problem that a lot of salespeople have when they originally start getting into sales and prospecting and call calling, is that and that's where you go through your role play and you learn your script so you don't sound like you don't know what you're doing, right? But then it gets to the next level that you really start like owning those words. And then you can tell with Tristan now, right? When you were talking about it, there wasn't even a moment that your brain had to go look for a piece of information, right? Like you weren't kind of thinking, like you just knew this is your identity. It's almost like when you're like, what's your phone number? You know, boom, this is my phone number, right? And it's all programming, right? It's all reprogramming really in this moment.
Just pay attention to those words that you use, right? Like, I'm going to try and get to 20 doors. I hope I can get to 50K a month. I'm going to try. Try is like the worst word. And he used to call me out on that constantly when we first met. And he's like, dude, your language sucks. Like, you have all this weak language. In the sub, it just goes right in there, man. And it's like, it's your autopilot. So whatever you feed that thing, it's going to give you. So stop using that weak language. If you're going to commit to doing something, if you're going to set a goal, commit to hitting the goal. Otherwise, what the hell's the point of setting a goal? It's not like a popularity contest on Instagram of like, I'm going to do this thing. It's like, dude, don't set the goal if you're not going to actually go do it. And it should stretch you, but like, don't stop. Like Tristan said, he didn't stop. He just kept pushing. And then he started to build that belief in himself by getting in the right rooms and feeding his mind the right things. Then eventually, poof, like now he closes deals effortlessly and he's got 50 to 60 leads coming in a month. Yeah. How many of you guys would want 50 to 60 leads a month? Right? Like from having 2 properties or 3 properties after 12 months to now having 25 or whatever you're at in the last 9 or 8 months, it's bananas, right? Like logically, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is like when that goal does pull you and stretch you. If it's the right goal, though, it'll be like those little cars that we used to get in the Happy Meals, you know, that you're like, pull, 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 pull. But then once you let go, if you're really grounded on the other side, that is your why and that's where you're going, the car is going to go that way. And now all the work and all the attention and all the intention that you put into it is going to hit your goal right on the nose. And that's kind of what's happening with Tristan right now.
Yeah, there was a moment, Mike, I forget what week, it was early, maybe 2 or 3 in Limitless. And you had us basically meditate on our goal. You asked us right at the beginning, what's your goal? We went around, what's your goal? What's your goal? What's your goal? And I remember thinking, I forget where I only had 3 properties. I think my goal was roughly 10K a month. And you went around and asked us, and I said, you've referenced that triangle of what I know I can achieve, what I think I can achieve, and then my actual goal. And I was like 30K a month. Yeah, that's the goal. And you had us meditate on it and really think about the life that you want to live. What are you doing? Who are you with? Like now think about that goal. Is that really enough? Is that really the goal that you want? And immediately I said, nope, 60. That was my goal, 60K. Right in that moment, I doubled it. And part of me is like, the other, like the little angel devil, like pops out and like, really? That you're just going to double it? Like, really? That's what we're doing now? And at first I had that little like, geez, I don't know. But since then, we're skating there now, and it's just huge. Shifting your mindset to getting out of that comfort zone. The 30 was comfortable. 30K, there's absolutely nothing wrong with 30K a month by any means. That is a lot of money. But to just double it, and then it's almost just as easy to get to 60 as it is to 30.
And you know what's funny? It's and you said this earlier, right? It's like when the moment that you made the shift, you realize that like you deserve it, right? And there is that moment of like doing your goal. That's why you have to be either guided or be with somebody that like really calls you out on your shit, is that even in that moment, you did realize that you did deserve this bigger life, but you were kind of like discounting it, right? You're like, yeah, I do deserve, but I don't deserve 60. That's too much. I deserve 30. And like what I keep telling like my little cousin being 16, being Italian, is a very different kind of culture and mindset. And I keep telling her like, this is your only life, right? Like you can design it and create whatever you want. So why do you have to be discounting your dreams? Since we do all agree that you deserve whatever you want, then just go for it, right? Like why are you discounting it for? Right? If in the moment, and like being able to really like respond to that, being like, I see you, you want 60. Okay, we can do that. Right? Why are we discounting it? So what's the goal now? Has it changed?
Yep. 100K by the end of the year. And
Yep.
I want to, and I will purchase a property as well.
Hey, you see, look at that on the spot, you know? And that's the thing. That's the power of the language. Even like as we were speaking it, right? I want to, I will.
Yep.
I'm going to try, I'm going to.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. There's, and it was just reaffirmed more as things go on. Like I'm going to hit the goal. There's no way I will not hit the goal. It's just, how many bumps in the road will there be? And there will be some, but there's nothing that's going to stop me. I'm not going to quit. There's zero. I've never quit anything. So I know as long as I just keep moving forward, yes, I'm going to have the right people on my team. Yes, I'm going to have my operations dialed and, SOPs in order and all that stuff. That's all that I can get help with. That is surrounding yourself with good people. I just shot a text yesterday. I kind of toying with some different ideas. I shot a text to Julie George, the $1 Million host. And, we're going to have a chat down in Miami and she's going to kind of walk me through some things. That's putting yourself in the room. Like I heard her early on, her success when I got started with the business, and now she's a friend of mine because I put myself in the room with these people and try to provide value any way I can and build those meaningful relationships. And now I'm reaching out to some of these top tier people for help. So again, put yourself in good positions. You'll get the roadmaps for success, but you have to know, like, regardless, I'm going to reach my goal, period.
What's interesting is now you are one of those top tier people, bro. Like, you just spoke at TJ's Rentalpreneur Summit last week, right?
Yeah. Yep.
How cool was that? Right. So
That
going
was
from
awesome.
3 properties at the beginning of the year to having over 20 something, and then being a speaker on a stage at a 500 person event, like that's pretty epic, dude. That's pretty epic.
Yeah.
And also like, right, there's the connection you make are the living proof of the person you have become, right? Because we're all willing to give time to people, but then we're really quick, especially like in our space, we're really quick to gauge what is the value here, right? Is this somebody trying to just like use me and take my energy and my power, or is this like a mutually beneficial thing? And those people that like are in those rooms, like Julie, right? Like Julie is somebody that's super giving, but she'll also cut somebody else where it's not opportune or good for her. And then the other thing that I love about you, man, is and it's such an important like habit, is to constantly like, don't be shy to ask for help for people, right? And there's that moment of like, maybe somebody's doing something. Like, for example, like I have a page and a half of notes. I watched you did a training on Google Ads or stuff like that on the community. I watched that because like, I don't know the stuff that you know. I've been doing this for 12 years, but I don't know anything about Google Ads and how to better myself in that specific arena. And I don't mind lifting up my hand and be like, yo, I don't know anything about this. Can you teach me? Right. And there's people that have had different experiences in life and are great at what they do. And maybe that's the 1-inch adjustment that you need to make in your business to go from 2 or 3 leads over 12 months to, what'd you say, 40, 50 a month now?
Yep. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I want to pivot on that and just readjust, because like E said, Tristan has given some training inside of our mastermind group a couple times now on how to use Google My Business and Google SEO and all, a lot even broader than Google. It's just the default name that I always use. But
Yeah. Like Airbnb for SEO.
Yep.
I was telling him, I was like, dude, this is massively valuable. Like, you should be teaching this stuff. And recently, like, you just put together a course, right?
Yes. So I'm putting together a course because I just hear, one, I've been in the industry long enough to understand that there are some bullshitters out there that sell SEO services, but they generally just take your money. Not to say that that's everyone. There are very good, skilled people out there, but this stuff is expensive. I mean, I've worked for a lot of different companies, got paid a good amount of money to do this work, and it costs a lot. So people end up turning to overseas, to Fiverr, to Upwork, to some of these companies like that, and hire these random people to do some SEO for them. And the problem is the average person doesn't even understand what this dude is hiring, or who they're hiring and what he's going to do. So a lot of times with friends, I'm like, look, I'm busy. I can't do your SEO for you. But what I can do is, if you bring me their proposals, I will look it over and tell you if they're full of shit or not, if you're paying a good price or not. So yeah, I mean, I've just seen a lot of people kind of struggle with, like, I know I need SEO, like, duh, everyone needs SEO, but I don't know what to do. I don't know who to hire. I don't know if it's a good deal. I don't know how to measure if they're giving me value or not. Am I getting better? Well, they send me a report and it says I'm here, but I guess I'm doing okay. So I wanted to create something better. And again, I don't have the time. If I had 200 people come to me today and say, hey, I want to sign up, like, I'm not selling SEO services, because that would literally take up the next like 10 years of my life, and I would probably never get a chance to sleep again. That's how much like intensive it can be. So instead, what I want to do is begin to teach people the basics of SEO. There's so much to do. There's the rabbit hole is ridiculous when it comes to digital marketing and all the things that you can possibly do. I've gone to conventions for 5 days, jam-packed, overlapping talks. You have to pick which one you want to go to. And still you're overwhelmed with the amount of options for marketing and strategies that some of the best in the world are giving out. So I want to boil it down to simple things that people can do, that the average Joe can do, to help grow their business through Google and through digital marketing. So basically, starting with Google My Business, which is, by setting up a Google My Business, you can appear on that map, in that map pack. Okay, that's the number one thing. It's free. So I want people to start there. And more importantly, I want people to start providing value to others. Put yourself in a space where you are giving to other people. And if they say, oh my God, that was amazing, is there anything I can do for you? Yes, there is. I would actually love it if you could just go to my Google page right here and just and just leave me feedback about your experience. Obviously, it's a 5-star. You pretty much handpicked it, right? So those are the little things. And then,
So are those people that are your clients? So sorry to kind of
go ahead.
but are those people that are your clients, or are those just people in general that you're providing value to? So let's say like a vendor calls you and is like, oh, this and this, and you like spend some time on the phone with them, and then afterwards you're like, by the way, if you can, leave me a 5-star review. Or are just clients? Who are those people?
It's a mixture of a lot of different people. There are a handful of my current clients in there who were super happy. The very first person I worked with, Jessica, she was like, I absolutely love this. What can I do? She gave me a Google review. She gave me a Yelp review. She's my go-to referral. So if I need a reference for this particular business, I've gotten 3 properties. One is my most successful property because of her, because I put her in touch with the guy and she just raved about me. It was also strategic because I did it after our highest performing month. So she was happy to give me those kind words. But it's also vendors. I met a vendor at a house who he was pouring some sort of foundation support, and we were just talking, and he goes, "Oh, I have a couple short-term rentals up in like Pine Top and a few hours away from here, and I have issues with X, Y, and Z." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, here, this is what I do, and this is what I think would serve you well." Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. Really? Wow. And he was just blown away. And again, he was like, "Dude, that's huge, man. Is there anything, I want to stay in touch with you." So we exchanged numbers. Again, "Hey man, would you mind leaving me a review for any help? If you need anything else, like reach out." Boom. He gave me a review. And I'm also in a few Facebook groups, short-term rental type Facebook groups that are Arizona specific. And there's been people like, "Hey, what does your tech stack look like? What softwares are you using?" And I just DM, or I post, "Hey, I'm going to shoot you a DM with my tech stack and some of the things that I use and have found that work well." DM them, "Hey, this is all I've used." And then a bunch of people on that post like, "Oh, can you send me the info too?" 5 or 10 people. Yeah. Copy paste. "This is what I use. Let me know if you have questions." Over 5 or 6 days, they have a handful of other questions, and I just kind of, type them out when I get a few minutes break, and bam, there's 7 more 5-star reviews right there that took me maybe 20 minutes in all to provide value to people. So just kind of a mixed bag. I don't tell people to lie. I don't tell people to say that, you're one of my the property owners or investors. Just be honest in the reviews. And that's all I want. I don't want anyone to lie and say Tristan's managing my property when I'm not. Just say what value I provided and leave it at that.
I love it. I love it. So real quick before we wrap up, first I want to acknowledge you and thank you for coming on here and just say how freaking proud I am of you, man. Like, you've been pushing it and absolutely crushing it. So can't wait for you to get to the 100K a month, which will absolutely happen. What is the name of your management company, and then what's the name of the program so folks can get in touch with you either way?
Yes. So my management company here in Arizona is Sojourn Properties, SOJOURN Properties. And so you can find us on Google very easily. So my other company, my coursework that I'm building out for SEO and digital marketing is called SEO for STR. So you can go to SEO4FORSTR.com and check it out. It is, the website I'm still building out, and the course is going to be done mostly through Zoom, and I will be recording, some week to week things that people can work on. But really what I want to do with that is create a roadmap for how you can take your money, instead of giving your money to someone overseas or someone to do it for you, you'll be able to get a better understanding of what is actually going to move the needle. So instead of, say, spending $2,000 a month on someone to do SEO for you, you can spend the money or a lot less money to learn some of the basics yourself, and then spend $500 on content and build your website that way. So you're spending less money. You have a better understanding of the marketing strategy, so you can really feel like you're in control. And, you're going to be getting better leads, getting better results, and you're going to have a better understanding of everything online, which is only going to help you and give you more confidence. So SEO for STR, I'm just looking forward to helping people kind of set them free of this trap that is digital marketing, because, there's too many friends, too many business owners I've helped over the years in the last decade who just hit me up out of the blue, people I haven't talked to in 10 years. And they're like, dude, I see you do SEO and digital marketing. I think this guy's, yanking my chain. Can you look over my website and tell me? And, it's just a shame. It happens too often. So my goal is to empower people. So looking forward to connecting with you guys.
100%, man. 100%. So as you know, the last question that we ask all of our guests is, what is your number one secret to success with short-term rentals?
Absolutely. And when I first started listening to the podcast, I knew this would come up eventually when I was going to be on your show. And forever, I was thinking, well, it's obviously build a digital presence. But I don't really believe that anymore. I think that's important. But I would say my number one secret to success in this business or any other business or anything in life is your mindset. And it really has to be a strong mindset. You can have the perfect roadmap for marketing your business. You can have the perfect roadmap for running a short-term rental business. But if your mindset is weak, you will not succeed. You will quit. If your why is not strong enough, you will quit. There are people that have come and gone since I started this business in different courses and different groups that I'm in. And if your mindset is not there, you can only achieve so much. So I always wanted to say, build a Google presence, get your website dialed, and that'll be your number one secret to success. But it's just not true, because if I didn't firmly believe that I was going to be successful in this business, I could just turn my phone off and not handle any of these leads. Or if these leads are getting, they're not going my way, I'm not closing these deals. Oh, you know what? I'm not very good at closing deals. So I'm just going to shut my website down and just keep the properties I have, and I'll be fine. I'm making good money. Why not? Mindset has got to be strong. You have to firmly believe you deserve it. You have to firmly believe in everything that you're doing. And my why is so strong because it means everything to me. I want to succeed as an entrepreneur because it is what my grandfather did. It's the life that my grandfather provided for my family. He immigrated from Italy at 13 and he had nothing. He had to learn English while working construction and built a $200 million company that, he didn't even get to see. And that entrepreneurial spirit is in my blood. And so I will not fail. And now, especially since I have the mindset training and stuff, like there's no way I'm going to fail. But my why is for my family and to honor everything that my grandfather did and my father did. And all that builds into a very strong mindset. So long-winded, I apologize, but that is my number one secret to success.
That was so good. Probably my favorite response to that question.
I have nothing else to add.
Yeah, no, that's it.
We got to wrap.
Now, guys.
Tristan, like I said, man, truly appreciate you.
Yeah. Really congrats, bro.
In a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
In Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Sirs.
Super excited. Yeah, man. Mike has said enough, but I am, I have had a very small part in seeing you, but I've keep seeing you giving value and just being a good dude, and your head is so level and humble, and it's just like, it makes me proud to have you on here. It makes me proud to see you. It makes me proud for a fellow Italian immigrant. Because deep down you are your lineage. And we are like, like we're deeply hardworking people, and we deeply have love and care for our family, and that's my big why. So that really speaks to me as well.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on here. It's been an amazing year, and this is definitely another, huge milestone for me. So I appreciate you guys inviting me on, and I'm just so glad to help provide more value to all your listeners. And, because I've been there, I've listened to the hundred many plus, what are we at now?
113 plus all the From the Host ones I did with Riley. So.
Yeah. So yeah, to listen to all the value that's been in there, and now to be part of it is huge for me. So I appreciate you guys.
Awesome, brother.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this one. It was a doozy. We'll see you guys next week.
Ciao, guys.
Hey, STR Nation, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. And in the comments, let us know what topics you want us to cover on upcoming episodes, and we'll make sure to get that in the books for you. And if you really want to learn how to launch, automate, and scale your short-term rental business, if you want to go deeper, then check out our free masterclass at strsecrets.com.